Okay, I'm standing in front of Kroger's because I had to come over here to the PNC Bank to make a withdrawal. They're one of the designated banks and ATMs that will allow you to make a free withdrawal from your unemployment debit card once a week. And I don't like paying money I don't have to pay, so I came over here to get my money and stopped by Kroger here. This is my haul. 4-pack of pint canning jars and some dill seed, since I've got more cucumbers ready to go. I will be picking those today, refrigerating them overnight, and then going to can them tomorrow morning. I tried fermenting the first one, and I think it was just too hot and I got mold. So I'm getting ready to head to Washington Street to the PLS check cashing place to get a money order to pay my rent. And this Kroger is off of 10th Street, so it's a little bit of a haul, but probably about 1.25 miles. Definitely longer than the bank. We'll get started here in just a minute on the walk. My plan was actually just to buy 2 quart canning jars today, because I didn't feel like dragging my grocery cart with me today. And actually that would have been about half the price of the 4 canning jars I just bought, even though they're the same amount, but they were all sold out of the single jars, so, and I was glad I spotted that, the 4 jars, because otherwise the much larger pack would have been really too big and awkward and heavy to carry for closer to 2 miles by the time I would have gotten back home. So I'm not really complaining. And they are the cool retro style. It is sprinkling. That started, actually a storm moved in about 7 o'clock last night and brought the temperature down, and it's just been ungodly hot the last week and a half, so this is a real nice change. Matter of fact, I could be wearing a very light long sleeve shirt and jeans and also be comfortable, but I'm wearing shorts and short sleeved dress t-shirt today. Mother Mary in their yard. But it's July 22nd, 2019, and today is the 85th anniversary of the death of John Dillenger. And for those of my international friends who've never heard of John Dillenger, he was one of several leaders of bank robbery gangs that proliferated here in the United States during the Great Depression. John Dillenger was born here in Indianapolis, but he was actually raised in Mooresville, Indiana, and I think his family had a farm down there, which wouldn't surprise me because there were lots and lots and lots of family farms at the time. And that area, it was more rural. It's today Mooresville is a large town. Indianapolis bedroom community. But back when John Dillenger was born on June 22nd, 1903, that was really not a trend. And I'm guessing that would probably have been a closer to about a 2-hour trip by horse or the cars of the era. You know, I don't know what the top speed of those cars were, but I'm sure it's not 70 miles an hour. Check, that house has had a fire at one point. Okay, so anyway, John Dillenger grows up, relatively normal kid, and when he's 20 or 21, I don't know the date he robbed the bank, and seeing as he was born smack dab in the middle of the year, it could have been either. Anyway, John Dillenger robs the bank in Mooresville, gets caught, tried, convicted, and spends 9 years in prison. He gets out in 1933, helps some of his fellow prisoners escape, and they form the first of a couple of gangs he would have over the next 13 months to rob banks. From very early June, like the first week of June in 1933 to June 30th, 1934, John Dillenger and his gangs robbed or attempted to rob 14 banks. 8 of those were here in Indiana. Matter of fact, one was in Indianapolis. One was in Daleville, Indiana, which was about a 5-minute drive from where I grew up. And during this time, John Dillenger became a celebrity. Sometime, and I believe this would have been 1934, after he escaped from the jail in Crown Point, Indiana, which is a whole different story, and basically he embarrassed everybody in that town. Well, when I say everybody, the government and the sheriff's department and the jail. But my great-grandfather owned a dairy farm in northern Delaware County in the town of Eaton, Indiana. And my great-grandfather and his son, my grandfather, were out delivering milk. Vehicle flagged him down and asked for directions. There was also a lady in the vehicle. I don't know for sure who she was. The grandfather said she moved her skirt to obscure the gun John Dillenger had in the vehicle, which was most likely what was known as a Tommy gun, which was very distinctly different than a rifle or a shotgun that normal people would have carried at the time. And I'm picturing during this brief encounter that everybody said hi to everybody else. So my grandfather would have said a few words to John Dillinger and to his female companion, and they would have said a few words back to him. You know, most likely, hi, how you doing? How's business? You know, normal chit-chat, small stuff. My great-grandfather gave Mr. Dillinger the directions he was looking for, and they went on their way. And I was probably 10 to 15 when I heard this story, and I'm thinking I was more likely in the 12 to 15 range. But that's immaterial. Basically, I heard the story 40 to 45 years after it happened, and I'm telling it now 40 to 45 years after it was told to me. Grandfather has been dead almost 30 years, so I can't go back and ask him details about this. But my reaction at the time was, did you call the police? Because basically all I knew is at that time John Dillinger was a bank robber and had killed some policemen during those robberies. And he said no, because it could have gotten tracked back to the family. And of course, my grandfather being 14 or 15 at the time, that really wouldn't have been his decision. That would have been his father's decision. But that statement leads me to believe that my great-grandfather's truck had the name of the dairy on it, and that would have probably been memorable. I like this painted brick. I don't normally like it, but it looks good on this house. So that was my grandfather and great-grandfather's brush with one of the most famous of the Depression era bank robbery gang leaders. And obviously he's much more famous here in Indiana because that's where he was born and raised. This old school was named after Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's School 58, and I believe it is now apartments. There's actually several of these old schools. No, actually, I think it might even still be a school. But there are several of these old schools that have been converted into apartment buildings. Yeah, it's still a school today. Matter of fact, one of those converted schools is just a block from where I live, and I actually found a Bronze Star in there, which I filmed briefly for Memorial Day. Okay. More than halfway to the PLS. Got about 3 blocks up to Washington Street, and then about 4 blocks heading west after we get up there. So I had fun with Polar Bear and Becky doing my reaction to why Amberlynn Reid quit her weight loss doctor. It's only 75 seconds. It's basically I cut to the chase and cut to it really, really quick. And I saw when I logged on to my phone yesterday, because I had to indicate my availability with one of the employment agencies I've been trying to get a job with. But on my notifications, I saw that Amberlynn Reid yesterday posted, or it might have been Saturday. Yeah. Anyway, that she has started another day one. And since her videos are 4 to 5 weeks behind, I'm sure that has already ended. But the only thing she's done more than a couple weeks this year is the 100 days of posting that she's in the middle of right now. I think she's at like 40 or 41 days if she posts today. Find that out when I go to the library later today. Hey, kitty. Hey, sweetheart. So, it's really almost no excitement in knowing that it's already ended. And even though I've only been on this Amberlynn Reid train wreck since about March, or was it April? It doesn't matter. Yeah, you can see how her patterns develop really, 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 really quickly. I mean, it's sad. I want her to lose weight. She'll feel so incredibly much better. But I am convinced she's going to be bedbound here in about 18 months to 2 years. I will say I'm thinking she is pretty dedicated right now to not reaching 600 pounds. Which is why we've had a lot of yo-yo dieting this year. I think I had said at one point that her gross weight gain was 22, but I think that's actually closer to 30 because I had forgotten when she, right after she did her weigh-in prior to the weight loss doctor, she said, yeah, I weighed myself today, I'm down a couple pounds. And then she corrected herself later and said it was 6. We're up on Washington Street now. Although I think when she hits the 600-pound barrier, the next fear will be 700 pounds and she'll gain some more weight. Kind of found it ironic, and I think it was in a Twitter feed where she said, well, it's really common to gain weight in the early part of the relationship. And I would say that's incorrect. It's more common to gain it after a relationship breaks up, because you're stress eating, not taking as good care of yourself. Sunflowers, and lots of them. I usually, if I have to walk down this way, walk on the other side of the street or cut through the neighborhood. Or they just may not have bloomed the last time I was down here. These are really attractive, and they're not big ones either. Of course, you can see that. I guess I was stating the obvious. And of course, as everybody has commented, she's basically can't get any larger sizes from Torrid. Although I guess there are other companies that do have larger sizes. So that's going to be a major, major concern. And I think if she and Becky break up, she'll gain a whole bunch more weight. We'll put on pause for a minute. But, you know, Becky might be the one that sticks with her long term. I'm not going to make a prediction. But it will be very, very bad for Amberlynn Reid if they break up weight-wise. Yeah, we got trash. It's a abandoned house. It is really kind of unique around here. You'll have these really nice properties, and 2 houses down, you'll have a boarded up property. And I think 2 things that contribute to this area not being, or not being worse than it is my landlord, her company owns 51 multi-unit buildings, 4 to 5 units a building, so she's got a little over 300 units. So, those properties are maintained. I mean, they don't spend extravagant money on the exteriors, but they keep the grass mowed and keep them from falling totally into disrepair. And the handful of homeowners around here who take pride in their place. Matter of fact, a co-worker at my last job bought a house a little bit further east of here in a similar neighborhood, maybe not quite as poor, but he did that because it was a lot cheaper doing that way. So he's one of the people that contributes to that neighborhood being nicer. I did get a kick out of Amberlynn Reid when in her I'm quitting the weight loss diet, and she said, well, when you're learning to ride a bike and you fall 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 before you finally get it. And she went on her first diet at 11. She's been falling for 17 years. It's time to get the tricycle. You're never going to master it. And honestly, I don't remember falling when I learned to ride a bike. Or if I did, I only did it once or twice. It's just like, oh! I never, ever give up, and you can be assured I'm getting right back on that bike. Yeah, she's addicted to starting the diets, but not following through on it, even though she can drop a few pounds here or there. And she lost those 89 pounds, and then of course promptly gained them back. And more, and more, and more. Huh. Looks like some sort of a homemade salsa verde, probably from this place. But as I said in my specific reaction to that video, the only person she's harming with her lies is herself. Oh, yeah, I kind of got sidetracked there. But yeah, she said I can make more money being a mukbang channel, but I would die sooner. And I think at this point, it's probably a little bit relative. I think we're talking the difference of maybe 2 years. You know, I think she really still has it in her mind, despite knowing intellectually. I think she thinks she's going to live to 70 or 80, even if she doesn't lose the weight. And that she would die by the time she's 40 if she became a mukbang channel. And I think she's going to be dead by the time she's 40 at the rate she's going. Because the denial in her is so strong. I mean, if she could even just stay the same weight for 1 year, she'd be making progress. I mean, stay exactly the same weight for 1 year. Not 5 pounds heavier, not 5 pounds lighter. Lots of used tires around here. Actually, there's a lot of used tire stores up in Muncie too, where I've got family. One of the original brick streets here in Indianapolis, where the overpavement has chipped off and has never been replaced. Got a gal up there walking a couple of dogs. It's cute. Okay, I'm getting really close to the PLS, so I'm going to end this story. I hope you enjoyed my retelling my grandfather's brief encounter with John Dillenger, and have a good day.